to shock us. And what happened today? Well, it's already tomorrow over there. But what happened with Korea is another shocking day with the South Korean stocks plunging nearly 11%. That's crazy. And of course, dragging down and destroying American semiconductor stocks in response today with some of our favorites. And my biggest position right now, a net position, Micron being hit very brutally. And I told you yesterday I need this thing to be above 850 to make money this week. So not looking too good. That was definitely unexpected, especially after this brutal drop that already happened before. I'm playing it normally very safe, right? I need to make the money for Pioneer Alpha and Pioneer Bonds. So I don't want to take too excessive risks, but this time, fortunately, I'm only trading privately right now because the Pioneer Alpha portfolio in July is in transition into our institutional instrument. That took a little longer, maybe a good thing. So we got hit in June a little bit, gave up some of our gains. Of course, not all of them, but some. And in July, we had this transition. So I was just trading a little bit for fun. But that trade, let's see if I come out of this with a profit. I still think I could. But we have to discuss today what is going on in this crazy market. I mean, Micron down so much on no news just because the Koreans can't get their margins under control. Amazing. I heard that 3% of Koreans or some insane number got margin called, not of portfolios, but of the entire country. That is nuts. So this is really extreme stuff. And today we are going to dive a little bit deeper. First of all, what the whole situation is with the market, why retail investors are so frustrated, and to put everything a little bit into perspective, because I think a lot of people, including institutions, by the way, who are also looking bad, hedge funds looking very bad this year so far, retail looking very bad so far. And at the same time, we are close to all-time highs. So everyone thinks they're a loser and are depressed, down 40%, down 12%, whatever it is, and thinks, am I the only loser here? Why is everyone up and I'm down? Not everyone is up. It's actually a disastrous year so far, with the absolute worst July in a very long time. We are going to look at some of these things right here. So look at this, for example. Look at this, just to put it into perspective. If you're a Tesla shareholder and you think you got hammered, look at your colleagues over here. Maybe you're a Tesla and a Micron and a whatever, Marvel shareholder, but look at what happened from the highs over the past month. This is not a correction. This is a hardcore crash, if you ask me. From the highs, SanDisk down 50% in a month. Pretty bad. All of them, 50%. Micron, 30%. Look at this. Isn't that crazy? So we are in a full-blown crash. Let's make no mistakes about that. We have very good contrarian news today. Jim Cramer has said that the AI financing is like the dot-com bubble. So that signals probably a bottom, because that's, first of all, not true. And second, Jim Cramer says something like this. We are very close to the bottom, in my opinion. We are getting to this a little bit more. We get fundamental news on the whole semiconductor trade, of course, that everything under the surface is incredibly bullish. All the fundamentals looking incredibly good. So here Trade Whisperer says, a leading research firm released new 2027 DRAM data today. It is bullish. Of course, new supply is absorbed by HBM before it ever reaches the general market. Of course, look at Elon, what he said in the earnings call. Look what NVIDIA does. They are sold out all the way to 2029, if you ask me. Wafer input dedicated to HBM is projected to increase roughly 40% year over year in 2027 to meet HBM 4-bit demand. Conventional DRAM wafer input grows only 12%. The DRAM industry's sufficiency ratio is projected to worsen in 2027. Think about that. People are selling off SK Hynix and Micron because they're thinking they're losing pricing power when it's clear that they're gaining pricing power next year. It's crazy. So that's happening. Totally irrational market, I want to show you this one. This goes straight into our weekly brief. I love this chart. Straight in our weekly brief this Sunday coming out. If you go to pioneerlens.org, you see the weekly brief from last Sunday, which is only 2 days ago. I will get into that in a second, but very interesting things. To put things into perspective, if you feel very bad and very dragged down and you think your portfolio is down, well, look at this. Here you see the Mag 7 outside Apple, and you see the valuations of these things. It's actually not outside of Apple, it's outside of Tesla. But the 12 months forward PE ratio, and what you see, 2016 was the last low valuation point in time. They are all down to 20, Microsoft to 20, Nvidia actually, well, is that 20? Amazon down to 20, Alphabet a little better, but also below 20. Apple is the only one up, and Meta also looking pretty bad. And you have to consider that was 2020. That was the pandemic, I think. So the bottom line is Amazon is as cheap as it has ever been over the last 10 years. Okay, similar things is true for Nvidia, actually, right? It's like right at the lows of the 10-year lows. For Meta, we are seeing also 10-year lows with the exception of this. I don't even know what that exactly was. And Alphabet, also relatively cheap. So all of these valuations are down dramatically. So we are in a weird market where in the middle of an exponential AI boom, everyone is selling the most important hyperscalers. So what else do we have here? SanDisk, I mean, look at this. What a disaster. What else do we have here? Gavin Baker, this also goes straight into the weekly update. So I'm giving you a little bit of preview here. But of course, Gavin Baker is a very smart VC and investor, and he gives us the big rundown here. Very smart, where he basically makes the case for the market is totally overreacting to hyperscale credit spreads widening. From my perspective, TLDR, spot pricing for renting GPU compute materially above contracted rates implies hyperscalers are under earning while operating cash flow accelerations and underestimate source of funds. Absolutely. So people see that the credit spreads are widening. Okay. So the credit that the hyperscalers take on to build out the big GPU infrastructures, this credit gets more expensive because the market is pricing in more risk, which makes everyone nervous. Why does Google, Meta, and so on have to pay higher interest rates? Is there something wrong with them? And basically, Gavin Baker says, dudes, are you kidding me? There is massive backlog. People overpaying GPU compute spot pricing. So basically, if you rent long term, you get your deal. But right now, it's above these deals. So here, the fact that spot price for GPU rentals are at least 2 times higher than contracted rates is the missing piece. So basically, you contract long term, and if the prices currently that are being paid by people to rent these GPUs from the hyperscalers is 2x over long-term prices, it tells you how bad the squeeze is. It tells you how badly people want compute. And we know that anecdotally from Anthropic, for example. So all of these signs, from pricing power for Micron and DRAM to spot pricing for GPU compute, like the entire AI stack on all entry points where you have measure points about market health, shows you one thing. There is a massive demand-supply imbalance. The demand massively exceeds supply all the way into 2028 based on the backlogs. You have, when you actually spend CapEx right now as these hyperscalers, you have massive demand against that. And that makes this one of the lowest risks, so-called bubbles we have ever seen. I made a little joke. I made the little joke on X. Here's the joke. You have to use your brain for the joke. You have to do a little math. If your neighbors sign a deal with you for your little ice cream stand for $500 worth of ice cream that you don't have right now. And they're signing off their houses. It's secured with their mortgages, not with their mortgage, with their house, with their assets. And say, here, little Joe, you get me $500 worth of ice cream. I'm paying you ice cream number. And you say, okay, fine. And you go to your mom and say, Mom, I need $200 to buy whatever, milk and sugar. I don't even know how to make ice cream. It's made up, this example. I don't know how to make ice cream. You go to your mom and say, Mom, I need $200 because the neighbors already signed $500 in backlog commitments. And with this $200, I can buy the ingredients to make the ice cream to give it to my neighbors. And the $200 actually buy me $1,000 worth of ice cream. But I need $200 and I make the $500. I make $300 gain, and I have 50% more ice cream on top of it to sell for a pure margin. And your mom says, little Joe, this is the most outrageous credit bubble I've seen in my entire life. Then your mom is dumb. That's the bottom line. So that's pretty much what's going on here. That's exactly what Google does. They're building out $200 billion worth of CapEx GPUs with a $500 billion backlog for that stuff. And when you do the math, the 200 billion actually buys them more than the 500 billion revenue. It buys them more. So Gavin Baker is absolutely right. This is all bogus. The dumbest thing I've seen in a very long time here, even Kim Jong-un, whoever that is happy. What do we have here? The Red Sea. And so that is basically going on. We see here the semiconductor sector, okay? All stocks of the semiconductor index SOX are now trading below the 50-day moving averages, the first such occurrence since April 2025, which is funny. That's the times we live in. That just happened last year for totally different reasons, of course, Liberation Day and stuff like that. But here you see basically percent of components above 50-day moving average, and you see this hits like a total low, which is also a sign that we are a little on the bottoming out side here, in my opinion. And then this is the one I want to finish that review of what's going on. This definitely also goes into the weekly update on Pioneer Lands. Here you see Goldman US High Beta Momentum monthly. What does it tell you? This is the worst sell-off of momentum stocks we have ever seen. This is worse than the 2008 and 9 crash. It is worse than the dot-com bubble. So if you think the market is bad and you're depressed, well, I'm not surprised. This is literally the worst sell-off in history, in recent history over the last 30 years. Let that sink in. So what we experienced is an absolute bloodbath that we actually do not recognize when you just look at S&P and NASDAQ, even though the NASDAQ is also now in correction territory. So yes, it is extremely bad what's happening right now, just in case you think it's just you. And, you know, Micron is, of course, one of the main victims here. We see that Tesla is actually doing relatively well today, and Nvidia is doing well today. It's actually green. It recovered. It was also down dramatically. I mean, not dramatically, but it was down nearly 2%. Recovered. Micron was also down much more. Tesla is doing tremendous for Tesla. We should be very proud of Tesla. It's only down a little bit today, you know. Only down $1.78. That's like a dream performance for Tesla. So SpaceX is up. Where's SpaceX? SpaceX is up today, which is interesting news. The earnings, of course, are coming up for SpaceX. Why is there no SpaceX here? Earnings are coming up for SpaceX. And SpaceX did pretty well today, 2.56% up, also after being totally pushed down in the beginning. You see SpaceX is in the middle of price discovery here. That thing got totally slaughtered. People thought, oh, it's an AI stock, let's drop it 5%, and then it ended green, plus 2.9%. So very interesting action here. That implies to me that the sell-off in SpaceX for now is ceasing. Look at this, crazy. is seizing after, of course, being dramatically sold off from the IPO, right? It was at 201 and now it's at 116. So it's also down nearly 50% from its peak. I think it has a little more way to go because a lot of unlocks are coming, but SpaceX is becoming actually attractive down here. So that's going on. And now what happens tomorrow? Why is this also interesting? Because tomorrow is actually a huge day for the market. When you look at this here, I just summarize why tomorrow is important. So tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. So tomorrow is a very big day. Some people would argue it's the most important day of the quarter tomorrow in terms of signaling to the market. I think the bottom line of tomorrow is I'm a little more bullish than bearish on tomorrow for one simple reason. But I would also predict all these earnings. We have tremendous earnings coming up tomorrow. They probably won't go that great because they're all CapEx spenders. So let's go through it. Metropolitan area employment and unemployment, not that important. But then, of course, the big one at 2 p.m., the Federal Open Market Committee rate decision. So the Fed meets and will announce its rate. And we had some people out there creating a little bit of panic and saying, oh, they're going to hike rates. I mean, I'm not sure, no one knows what happens, but given the situation, given the Iran war, given the oil price drop that we just saw, given the complete bloodbath and panic in the AI trade, given that Kevin Warsh is only in there because Trump told him to lower rates and that this is his one job. I mean, I like Kevin Warsh. He makes a very good impression. I think he's very smart. But given where the market is, given where the economy is, given oil price implosion, hiking rates in this situation seems a little insane to me. And the market's actually pricing in 65 to 80% hold, 20 to 35% chance of 25 basis points hike, which means if they don't hike, should be pretty good for the markets. So 2 p.m., watch that, 2 p.m., 2 hours before market close, we will get the decision. More important, we will see the press conference. And then Warsh was very short. And I think he wants to actually not do all the signaling stuff too much. He wants to actually make it a little more rational. So that's good. But we have to be, of course, watching out for financial condition growth, inflation, but also risk assets and API CapEx related things. So what do I expect? Yeah, I'm going here with the majority. I think we are not hiking rates. It seems too insane, but you never know. And I think Warsh did a very good job last time. So I'm bullish on his press conference abilities, that he's not going to say something stupid and keep it very neutral, not say too much. Going to say, ooh, it's all difficult, blah, blah, blah. Inflation unclear. It keeps popping up, but it might be also Iran war related. Who knows? So I expect him to not say, oh, we are all going to die of inflation. Then, why is this so important tomorrow? It's not just that. It's after the close, we have a massive, the biggest day in AI earnings of the quarter. We have Meta reporting. And of course, we know there's massive AI spend. And so Meta will be very important. These psychos that are right now in charge of the market, they're going to say, oh my God, he said they're going to spend money on AI, sell everything. Microsoft, exactly the same. So we have these two giants, Meta and Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft's going to say, oh my God, we drown in business, we drown in money, therefore we have to build more data centers. And then the market's going to say, oh God, sell everything, sell Microsoft to zero. They have infinite business and I want to invest in it. That's horrible. So that's very likely to happen, kind of predictable. We have Qualcomm, very, very important. So here we are looking at Snapdragon, Edge AI, and all their little CPUs and whatever they have. And we have ARM, very interesting company. ARM was a very big SoftBank play. So again, we have two very important semiconductor names and we have two Mag 7s. And so what are we watching? You know, we watch Asia and AI spend on Microsoft. We watch AI infrastructure spend and scale. And it doesn't really matter what they say. It's going to be super bearish in this current sentiment. If they say they're scaling back investments, I think that would be the worst thing that could happen. then you know that's the end of the world. If they say we're spending less than expected, if they spend more than expected, that's also horrible in the eyes of the market. So basically, they can only lose. They either say we spend more on AI, then they will drop like a stone, or they're going to say we spend less on AI, then they will go to zero and the entire market will crash. So, which is a little irrational when you think about it, but that's what it is. So I think both of them might go to the upside and spend more than expected. That's what I hope. But the market will not be nice to them if they can't offset this with some insane earnings growth. I think Meta, I'm not playing earnings, you never know, but I mean, Meta normally surprises to the upside, especially with AI. They're very good in deploying AI for the core business. So I would be more bullish on Meta than on Microsoft. I don't even know what Microsoft is doing. They're like very confused. But Meta, well run, they're trading the lowest at the lowest PE ratio of all the Mag 7. So Meta probably outperforming, but what will the market do in reaction? I'm not sure. Very likely they get punished for spending more on AI. So what do I do here? I'm not playing any of these earnings. I'm holding my Micron. I think Micron is just absolutely ridiculously low here, even though you have to be cautious, right? You don't know what that market plans to do. But this is kind of ridiculous. And I will hold my Micron positions through these earnings unless the Fed creates some panic, because if the Fed creates panic, these earnings will just accelerate the panic. All in all, we are in dire straits. We are in panic. Not me, the market, which is more like a bullish sign than a bearish sign. And as I said, if you think things are bad, you're right. Things are actually horrible. They're absolutely horrible. The question is, will it get worse? I mean, here is, where do we have this? This was my favorite chart, where they actually compared CXMT, the new Chinese company that just dropped everyone, the new Chinese RAM company, that this company actually trades at $500 billion. Here's AJ with some very good comments. We estimate Micron Technology will earn 44%. Let that sink in. 44% of its current market value, of its current market cap, nearly half of its entire market cap. It will earn in earnings over the next 8 quarters. Let that sink in. We estimate next 8-quarter non-GAAP earnings of $401 billion, and they're not the only ones, by the way. Everyone kind of assumes that, who knows a little bit about it. Market cap at $920 billion. That's nuts. Just think about that. If you have a 10 PE, that's extremely low. In a non-growth company even, it's kind of low. So here, you're assuming that this company within 2 years makes half of its entire market cap in earnings. What's even your assumption after that? Even if these earnings go down after that, you will make your entire money back within 5 years or something, depending what you project after that. 5 to 6 years, you're buying Micron, and within 5 to 6 years, you're getting entire market cap back in earnings, and you think that's too expensive? That's completely nuts. And that's taking into consideration a drop in earnings. What do we have here? For every 10 of industry revenue, went to Samsung. Okay, fine. Here, this was the crazy thing. The irony here is that the Chinese investors have chosen to value CXMT. Okay, that's the company that just went public, went up 490% or something, 450%. That is the company that just dropped Micron, SK Hynix, and Samsung, and the entire market. And investors are giving that thing $500 billion market share when Micron actually only has, as you just read, 900 billion. And, based on the market share, 500 billion CXMT implies Micron should be at 1.4 trillion, not to mention all the advantages it has. So completely nuts. The bottom line here is, I wrap it up and then we go into the comments. The bottom line here is the market is being very irrational right now, very irrational. I know it feels very scary, but if you're a cold-blooded value investor or pioneer investor who looks into the future and understands the basics, this is kind of very easy wins. Mag 7, super cheap. Meta, super cheap. Amazon, Google, mega cheap. Nvidia, ridiculously cheap. Micron, whatever you think about cycle tops and everything, and that the earnings go down, the earnings will go up massively next year, guaranteed. The earnings are probably stabilizing even in 2028 and potentially go up even more. And if that thing crashes after, which is also very unlikely, by the way, even then it's too cheap right now. And then don't get me started on Tesla. I just had a conversation with Herbert. I mean, Tesla is a total ridiculous buy because they are on track with Optimus. Maybe Cybercab is delayed in Robotaxi a little bit. Maybe we see it in Q1 and not in Q4. It doesn't matter. These people are killing it and executing, and Tesla is very cheap. So I think for anyone who's a little bit more long-term focused, this is a gift. Now, is it going to get worse? Is it going to get a better gift? Of course, it could happen, but I think also I feel on all fronts, oh, we are reaching a bottom here, in my opinion, because you can't, this is the difference to a bubble. What are you going to do with Micron at 4 forward price earnings? What are you going to do? Where's your bubble? Do you want to sell it down to 2 forward price earnings? Do you want to drop it another 20%? So you actually make 60% of the market cap in the next 8 quarters? Like, it just gets too insane here with these companies. So I think I'm getting more and more bullish, but I'm kind of, based on my risk profile, fully invested. I can't do more right now without pushing it too far. And once we are institutional, once we have the Pioneer bonds live, hopefully next week. This was also a little journey. Everything gets delayed. There's too much regulations. But we will live. We will be live probably next week or the week after. I will stay cautious, of course. I need to deliver my returns, so our bondholders are happy. But portfolio linked. But this market is very good, in my opinion. This is a great entry position. You just have to be cautious that you can stomach any kind of crazy drop that can happen anytime in between. So let's see what's going on here. Where is the chat? Let's see. Hello. The chat is lagging as always. Why is this chat so messed up? I'm trying to see you guys' chat. Maybe I have to go on YouTube again. I use Riverside and it just had a problem with this whole thing. How can I do this? Public chat. Hello. They messed up their own technology. Maybe I can go here, view. And last time I checked it, it actually started appearing also in Riverside. Skip. Okay, there I am. We have the chat live. Is it now here? Now it appears. This is a major technological problem. Riverside. Okay, now I got you guys. Hello, everyone. Let's go to the beginning. Joe, does Tesla hit 4,000 per share before or after they release the flying car? After. I don't know if they're going to really, I think after. More pain to come. Maybe. I've called debit spreads on MU and Tesla. Interesting. The Trump effect. Yeah, we didn't even talk about Iran. I mean, this is totally ridiculous, I think. You guys know what my stance was on Iran. Everyone was criticizing me. I said this can't go anywhere. If there's any remaining rationality in the administration, they just can't go to war against Iran. So it's that simple. I mean, they can drop little bombs from time to time, but they can't really do war. This bounce will be epic. Probably. I mean, Micron going up 10% in a day for absolutely no reason is definitely in the cards. John Frasso says Kramer says sell by every share possible. Yeah, I mean, Kramer is like spot on as a contrarian. He always says exactly the wrong thing. It's kind of amazing. Here, bullish as fuck. says, just remember, folks, a great man once said, buy when there's blood in the water, even if that blood is your own. Another great man called Joe says, when they cry, we buy. Okay. Even when we cry ourselves, we buy. Okay. To make that. What Crosby says, yes. Wait, Crosby, what did Crosby say? Where's Crosby? Exactly the flying car joke. Little snot-nosed children should be banned from commenting. Who is that? Is the Democrats trying to destabilize the markets before the midterms? Can't have all-time highs or they're screwed. I don't know if they can do anything. Here, Street Cred Zero. The way you say mom, Joe, is quite poignant. Also, ice cream is mostly cream with sugar. Is it? It's interesting. I never made it. So you take cream and freeze it and put in sugar and your little, whatever it is, strawberry or something. Democrats also are ruining the crypto clarity bill, destroying the economy on purpose. I'm not following the clarity bill, but yeah, someone is holding this thing up. Street Cred Zero, the institutions and hedge funds can be bogus for longer than you can remain solvent. Well, we also have to understand most hedge funds are victims the same way retail investors are, right? They don't control this. Like sometimes, it's like the Matrix. Sometimes they can plot something, but it's not that they're moving as one. Like a lot of hedge funds get screwed all day long because they're making mistakes. How is this one of the worst crashes since 2008? Well, that's just a fact. It's just what it says. This is the highest loss of momentum stocks on a monthly basis so far. That's just what it is. And you have to consider that's on a monthly basis. So in these massive crashes, when you look at the actual statistics here, you see the crashes accumulated, right? So on a cumulative level, that here is much worse than what we have experienced now. So they are talking about a singular month. This is the worst month we have ever experienced in the last 30 years. It's just a fact. These crashes are just worse because look, it's like month on month, right? Look at the 2000 crash. This is this month, and then boom, the next month is also bad, and the next month is bad, and then you're getting destroyed. Same with the 2008 crash, whereas this is a singular concentration here. And I don't think this sets us up for a giant crash, even though it looks like the dot-com bubble. But you have to make a distinction here. You cannot crash stocks like Micron like that or Nvidia because there is a floor. Remember, in the dot-com bubble, Cisco was trading at 120 price earnings, not at 4. Like, think about that. Cisco, the big one that crashed, traded at 120 price earnings ratio. We are trading at 4. Think about that forward. Boom, boom, boom. Here, bullish as fuck. I stopped looking at the portfolio, lost a couple brand new Teslas worth of net worth, and I'm not concerned. Been there before. Exactly. If you're not on margin, you're long term, like this means nothing, right? I'm a little more stressed because I have to actually do things every day, but I mean, it can get worse. If we crash tomorrow, if the market crashes 50%, I'm a little screwed, but so far, I mean, it's all, if you are too obsessed with your portfolio, don't go super duper on margin and do crazy things. Or if you do it, you have to be very skilled. And you always have to, if you have an aggressive investment strategy, you know what you're doing. Even if you're down 50%, it's not a big deal if you're up in the bull runs 200%, right? You have to be like, it's bad if you're down 10% and the bull runs you're up 5%. So you have to balance this out, and definitely you have to avoid getting wiped out. That's very important. In my retirement accounts, I sold out of a bunch of Tesla at 307, then turned around and sold 307.50 puts. Yeah, that's one of my favorite little strategies because it's like peace of mind. If it goes up, fine, it goes up. If it goes further down, you saved some money. I'm an invader. Street cred 0 is an invader, an investor and trader. I try not go beyond 10% with my trading. Yes, smart. Fun fact, there was a study done, and the portfolios that gained the most were the portfolios of people that died. But then also the benefit for you is limited, because you can't take the dollars to heaven or wherever you're going. Okay, thought I'm the last one. Would be a nice shareholder meeting. Yeah, that's Tesla. Hi Joe, Miniko. Hi Miniko. Andreas Siegmund. Can't listen to your video anymore. You are always wronger than wrong. That is, we will see about that. So far, I am not. Remember last week on Wednesday before the Tesla earnings call where I said, I'm lightening up on my position. I don't like the setup. You're always wronger than wrong. Like last Wednesday when I sold out of Tesla. I'm always wronger than wrong when I said Iran is not going to escalate further. Well, I would be very surprised. Let me think about that. This is nothing. I learned my trading philosophy from my grandfather who lived through the Great Depression. He went through something. Bullish as Fook. He had a safe in his floor full of gold coins. Wow. That's a rich granddad. Sound is low, not again. How is sound low? I fixed everything. It can't be low. Oh no. How is the sound low? I don't believe you because we literally fixed it yesterday. Don't say the sound is low again. Here, I can look at my Shure microphone setting. Whew. What is that? It can't be low. Don't tell me it's low. The world ended 30 times already. That's true. Farms wouldn't be a bad investment. They retain value well. Canned foods, on the other hand, are still a depreciating asset, even if slowly. But I agree with the sentiment. Yes. Ragnar says, I've heard this paradoxon is known with cyclic stocks like Micron. The traders buy when the PE rational high and sell when the PA ratio is low because they know the cycle is at its peak. Yeah, and that's not even a dumb idea if the cycle is reliable, but this cycle is definitely different. Even if it's true, it's shifted. Smart AI Money says, yes, Andreas is wrong. Yes, he is extremely wrong. I just listened to Joe on my way to work, saved me a ton at Tesla earnings call. Yes. Your valuation for CXMT was maybe funny. Cattle makes nearly half the batteries in all the world and supplies most of Tesla batteries. Yes. What does it have to do with CXMT? I think this pullback is the only sane thing the market has done in the last couple of years. I thought this SPY was overvalued when it went above. Oh, we have Johannes. That's a nice name. Johannes. Someone has my name. There's to be a little rotation. The market is going to start having Micron PE ratios in complex numbers. Yes. Joe, one of the key differences is that the market almost never wants the obvious to pay off cleanly in the short term. It tends to move in the opposite direction first, especially in options-heavy names. True. Christoph Machetto. Hi, love your work. Hi, Joe, love your work. Thank you. I appreciate it. Feet is frozen. Do you think Trump will taco? And do you think his right-hand man will turn on him like they did Maggie Thatcher and so many other in politics? It's a complicated situation. We don't know. Something is wrong with this whole Trump situation because he's damaging himself in a pretty dramatic way. At the same time, I think there is a very significant forcing function against escalating the war on the economic side, on the political side, on the weapons side, on the military side. But there are definitely forces that push him extremely hard in some form of into some form of escalation. We just have to understand if this gets escalated, it would be absolutely devastating for the United States and for Iran too, probably, but they care much less. So I think it would be complete insanity. And normally an insanity like this doesn't easily happen. So that's why I put a 70% chance on this thing not escalating. And if they keep bombing something, that's not escalation. Escalation means actual war. Tesla needs to drop the Roadster to get some hype back into the stock. Oh, no, they can't just single-handedly hype up the stock if the entire market is in a depression. I think Tesla shouldn't do anything right now, to be honest. They can't do anything. Tesla should just keep doing what they're doing, and this whole tantrum will, go away at some point, because it's not Tesla that is negative here. It's the entire freaking market. Look at this chart. Okay, Tesla is a momentum stock. So highlights how undervalued it looks. Tesla's in a different situation. It hasn't really moved much for years, despite substantial progress and the enormous optionality in robotaxi. Yes. Fat old Black Panther. Hi, Joe. You were not so right lately, right? I don't know what you're talking about. I was wrong on Micron today. That is true. But let's see how the week ends. If Micron ends up, under 850 for the week, I lost money on Micron. Yes. I mean, it's not going to kill. It depends where it ends up. But if Micron ends the week over 850, I was right on Tesla and on Micron. So I don't know exactly what you guys are talking. You are a little bit in your bubble. I say things spot on. I'm very proud of myself, actually. That Tesla call was pretty good. Micron call so far looks bad, but let's wait. The short-term market dynamics simply aren't the same. Yes. Here joining train, toy train from Tesla pod to Tesla pod. Where are you, brother? Wait, who's heavy driver? Train, toy train. Who's heavy driver? Oh no. Trump, just another Zionist puppet. Oh, we are not going to talk about this kind of stuff. Then everyone goes nuts. In looking back, this will be the dip everyone has been waiting for, but are now afraid to buy. Austin 4. Yeah, if you're systematic about buying this stuff, this is a good time to buy, as long as you're mentally prepared that it drops a little bit more. Some nice ice cream sounds fabulous. Oh, it's too late. I can't buy more ice cream right now. Never met an ice cream I didn't like. There you have it. Your thoughts on France rejecting FSC? It doesn't matter. It's France. France rejects everything, so it's fine. Everything except mass migration. Here. France invented hairy legs on women. No one cares about their opinion. Exactly. Everyone is mean to the French because the French are mean to everyone. So that's fine. Mark says sanctions always win. Nuclear proliferation led to one country in the Middle East getting nukes. Wolf amendment led to Chinese space station. ASML made lose 40% of their business, already 25% lost. Joe, when you gonna lose all your hair? I don't know. I hope, I mean, so far, it's fine. I don't want to lose my hair. Herbert has a lot of bald gurus. Do I need to be bald for being a guru? I hope not. Do you think starting September we can expect rally back again up to December? I mean, Christoph Marchetto, we have to be very cautious with these predictions right now. The market is insane, but I really think, given the fear and panic and sell-off and everything here in the momentum stocks, against all, common sense, And I'm looking always at Micron as an indicator, like how bad can this actually get? I mean, it can always get worse, but there is exponential resistance the more this falls. My Tesla cost is currently 387. I'm all smiles. I think that's totally fine. Audio is perfect. Very good. Oh, we have so many comments. What's going on today? Tesla Autonomy UK is back. Love your hard work, Joe. Keep it up. Ignore the Muppets. Sound is good, by the way. Thank you. The most important encouragement I need from you guys is that the sound is good, because people always make me nervous. They say, oh, I can hear you. Joe, this big drop is what I was thinking of when I was messaging you on your live stream when Tesla was about 425, just to be cautious and deploy when a big opportunity presents. Yes. It's Michael Burry's fault. I don't know. Michael Burry is nearly always wrong. He just happened to be right this time. So. Ken Clifton says, hi, Joel, I love your information. It's not easy being a long-term investor in Tesla, NVIDIA, and Palantir. That is true. Sound is fine. Very good. Very funny. So this is the situation for today. What else do we have? Should we look at some? So we know Micron got slaughtered. We know AMD got completely destroyed for also completely no reason. We know that actually the cryptos got very killed in the beginning and then totally recovered, which is very interesting. We see, what else did we see? Palantir is down a lot, not surprising. Actually, this is not a good watch list here. This is not very complete. I never used this watch list. So yeah, this is going on, and Google is nicely recovering, of course, because these drops, we also have to understand these drops are so stupid. They're so phony and stupid that I can't even put it into words. And this is exactly what happens. If you like, look at this, look at 5 days Google. That's exactly what I'm saying. If you drop super stocks like Google after great earnings, like a stupid person, they're just gonna rally back. So it's kind of an easy play. And even if they just bottom a little bit. So that's what we have to wait for tomorrow. If Meta drops, I'm sure Meta will have amazing earnings, and it's probably going to drop because of capex. These are easy buys, and if I'm wrong and it doesn't bounce back right away, you just hold it for 3 months and make money. So Amazon reporting Thursday, exactly. Those saying they will buy when the price drops to some amount never do due to fear. Many of these people are spreading FUD and negative sentiment by making traders imagine lower prices. Yeah, exactly. You have to sell some puts and enjoy the ride. 10 years from now, no one will remember today. Yes, just be cautious how many puts. Do you speak on the robotaxi rollout opacity as a very important strategic move by Tesla to avoid any kinds of attacks on their rollout by not telegraphing their moves? I ignore the doomsayers. You go on record all the time. Microsoft and Amazon reporting Wednesday and Thursday. Yes. Exactly. Street Cred Zero says, I'm a Palantir bull, but I've been making dollars by selling and sniping Palantir calls. I mean, bold move, Street Cred Zero. I mean, it works when it goes down. It doesn't work when it goes up. What is this? No. Google has 10-year track record on their TPUs for AI compute. They will be fine, as will rent the V2 from 2017. It doesn't even matter. Google is just killing it, and now they're buying more TPUs and NVIDIAs. So there's no problem. It's just amazing. Okay, guys, let's wrap it up. I have to do one more workout before I go to sleep. But let's see what tomorrow brings. It's going to be wild as always. This market is totally nuts. These drops are irrational. That's a very good That's a very good final comment. Amour de Paris. Are you French? Do you know why they rejected, France rejected FSD? We will see what happens tomorrow. I'm half relaxed because I'm not even really trading, but it starts very soon. And in this market, I will be very, very aware of risks because I don't want to lose. So let's see how it all goes. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I see you tomorrow for a wild and important day in the market. So see you then. Thank you so much and enjoy the wild ride into the age of AGI.